The silence after the song was not empty. It was waiting. For 3 weeks, the UNS Vireo drifted through the quiet systems of the outer fringe, systems where Synod control had crumbled not with fire, but with a whisper. Colonies grew not from conquest, but from memory. Children to the tear symbol in the dust. Elders told stories not of war, but of the first time they felt something they couldn't explain. And the fracture device? It sat silent. Not dead, not dormant. Listening. Then, on the 22nd night of the voyage, it spoke. Not with sound, with a pulse. A single, deep vibration that resonated not in the ship's hull, but in the crew's bones. Illyra Voss woke first. She found the device glowing, not with blue, but with a soft silver light. On its surface, words formed, not in script, not in code, but in light itself. We are not the first. We are not the last. We are the echo that refuses to fade. Beneath it, a new symbol appeared. 7 points, 1 tier, and a spiral coiled around them both. Then, coordinates. Not to a planet, not to a station, to a void. A patch of space the Synod had marked as Null Zone Theta, a place even their probes had never returned from. Cale Renner ran the data. "It's not empty," he said, voice hushed. It's shielded by something older than Synod records." Joris frowned. "Older than the Synod? That's like saying older than math." Dag Vase stared at the symbol. "The Synod didn't just erase species. They erased stories. What if this is one they couldn't kill?" Tisa Lin looked at Illyra. "Do we go?" Illyra touched the fracture device. It hummed, just once. A sound like a heartbeat. "We don't have a choice. It's not calling us. It's remembering us." The jump was unlike any other. Not silent, not smooth. The Vireo shuddered as it crossed the threshold into the null zone, not because of gravity, because of time. Chronoton readings spiked, causality warnings flashed. Joris cursed as the full drive screamed in protest. "We're not just moving through space," he said. "We're moving through echoes." Outside the viewport, stars didn't burn. They remembered. Each one pulsed with a different memory. A civilization that sang to their sun until it answered. A species that built cities from dreams. A child who asked, "What if we're wrong?" and was erased for it. The crew felt them, not as visions, as grief, as joy, as 1,000 lifetimes of feeling. Then, silence. And in the center of the void, a monolith. Not man-made, not alien, primal. It floated alone, a perfect black obelisk, its surface smooth as obsidian, yet somehow alive. No markings, no doors, no signal. But the fracture device reacted. Instantly, it floated from Illyra's hand, drifted toward the view screen, and projected its symbol onto the monolith. The 7-pointed spiral, the tear, the coiled memory. The monolith responded, not with light, with memory. A single voice filled the bridge, not human, not synthetic, not even singular. It was collective. "You have come." Illyra stepped forward. "Who are you?" "We are the ones who came before. We are the ones who felt first. We are the ones who were erased for dreaming." Images flooded their minds, not on screens, but in their skulls. A species of light beings who wove constellations from sorrow. A hive mind that chose individuality and was shattered for it. A race of stone singers who taught mountains to weep. All of them. All erased. All remembered. The voice continued. The Synod did not create harmony. They inherited it from us, from the ones who came before them. And they feared what we became. Illyra asked, "What did you become?" "We became free." And freedom is the only thing the cosmos cannot control. The monolith pulsed, and the fracture device, now fused with the symbol, began to glow brighter. The voice softened. "You think you awakened the galaxy, but you only lit a candle.
We are the fire that came before the wick. Then the warning. They are coming. Illyra's blood ran cold. Who? The keepers of silence. The ones who enforce the first law of the cosmos. Do not remember. Do not feel. Do not become. Tessa whispered, Are they Synod? No, the voice said. The Synod were their children. Weak, flawed. But these are the original architects of stillness. Joris paled. So, what do we do? The voice did not answer. Instead, the monolith opened. Not a door, a memory portal. And from it drifted a single object, a crystal seed.
Identical to the one Illyra had received from the first remembered. But this one pulsed with red light. Not anger, not violence. Urgency. It floated to Illyra. She caught it. And she felt it. Not just memory. Warning. They do not harvest. They do not erase. They unmake. They do not kill the body. They kill the echo. Once forgotten, never remembered again. Illyra looked at her crew. They're coming for the memory itself. Kale nodded slowly. Not to silence us, to make it so we never existed. Docvay's voice was grave. That's worse than death. That's non-existence. The monolith began to fade, but before it vanished, the voice spoke one final time. You carry the last standard, not of humanity, of all who refuse to be silent. Protect it. Propagate it, even if you must become what you fear. Then, silence. The monolith dissolved into stardust. The void returned to stillness. Only the red seed remained in Illyra's hand, and the fracture device, now etched with the new symbol, hovered beside her. It whispered, not in words, but in feeling. They are already here. They didn't believe it at first, not until the signal came, from Seed 7, Mira's voice, calm but strained. The children are vanishing. Illyra's heart stopped. What do you mean? Not taken, not killed, forgotten. She explained. A child had been playing with a plasma orb. One moment there, the next, gone. Not dead, not missing, but erased from memory. No one remembered their name, their face, their song. Even the tear symbol on the walls faded, as if they never existed. Then another, then another. Where are they going? Illyra asked. Mira's voice broke. Nowhere. They're being unwritten. The same thing happened on Lumara 9. A former Synod envoy, now a teacher of feeling, woke up and didn't recognize his students. He looked at his own hands and whispered, Who am I? His memories were intact, but the meaning was gone. He remembered holding his daughter's hand, but he no longer remembered why it mattered. The keepers weren't erasing people. They were erasing significance. And without significance, memory had no anchor, no weight, no soul. Doc Vader realized the horror. They're not deleting the past, they're making it irrelevant. Kale's voice was quiet. A memory without meaning is just data, and data can be overwritten. Illyra turned to the fracture device. It pulsed red. It's not just a weapon, it's a lighthouse, and the storm is coming. They made a choice, not to hide, not to run, to broadcast. Using the Echo Network, now grown across a dozen systems, they sent out a new signal, not a memory, a ritual. They called it the act of remembering. One by one, people across the galaxy were asked to do 3 things. Speak a name of someone they loved, lost, or admired. Share a feeling, not what happened, but how it felt. And carve the symbol, the 7-pointed spiral with the tear,
somewhere visible. It wasn't defense. It was resistance.
Not with force, with meaning. On Seed 7, Mira gathered the children. "Say your name," she told them. "I am Leora," one whispered. "I am Kalen," another said. "I am Virel," a third added. Each time a name was spoken, the tear symbol on their temple glowed. On Lumara 9, the former envoy stood before his students. "My name is Rian. I felt joy the first time I held my daughter, and I will feel it again." He carved the symbol into his desk. It glowed. Across the fringe, hundreds did the same. And the fracture device, now linked to the Echo network, began to sing. Not a song of memory, a song of meaning. This matters. You matter. It mattered that you were here. The red pulse faded. The blue returned. But deeper, stronger, like a heartbeat after a long sleep. Then they arrived. Not with ships, not with weapons, with absence. A patch of space near Lumara 9 simply dulled. Stars lost their light. Comms went silent. Memories flickered. And in the center of it all, a vessel. Not sleek, not angular, not even solid. It was a hole. In reality, a shape that shouldn't exist. Where it passed, memories unraveled. Names were forgotten. Feelings faded. And the tear symbol turned gray. The Vireo raced to intercept, but as they approached, the crew felt it. Not fear. Forgetting. Joris looked at his tools. I don't know what these are for." Tessa stared at the controls. "I flew through fire once, but I can't remember why." Kale clutched his head. "I knew a language once. Now it's just noise." Only Elora remained clear, because the seed in her palm burned hot. She gripped the fracture device, and she did the only thing left. She spoke. Not to the enemy, to her crew. "Joris, you kept us flying with duct tape and defiance. Tessa, you flew into the storm because you believed in us. Kale, you taught us that empathy is a weapon. Doc, you asked if we deserved to survive and fought for us anyway." And with each word, their memories returned, not as data, as truth. The fracture device flared, not with energy, with meaning. And the red vessel flinched, not because it was damaged, because it was recognized. Elora stepped to the comms and broadcast not a signal,
A question. "What is your name?" Silence. Then the vessel trembled. For the first time in eons, it remembered. Not a name, but a feeling. Loneliness. And in that moment, the fracture device did not destroy it. It welcomed it. It pulsed once, and the red vessel dissolved. Not into nothing, into a single glowing tear. It floated toward the Vireo. Elira caught it, and she whispered, "I remember you too." That night the galaxy changed. Not with victory, with communion. The Keepers of Silence did not return, not because they were defeated, because they were remembered, and to be remembered is to exist. Back aboard the Vireo, the crew sat in silence. The fracture device rested on the table, now etched with a new layer, the seven-pointed spiral, the tear, the coiled memory, and beneath it, all in glowing script, the last standard. Not of one species, of all who chose to feel, of all who refused to be silent, of all who said, "I remember." Elira looked at her crew. "We thought we were saving humanity." Tiza smiled faintly. "We were saving something older." Kale nodded. "The right to be imperfect." Jors grinned. "The right to be messy." Doc added, "The right to be human." Elira turned to the viewport. The stars burned brighter than ever. And in the dark between them, she heard it. Not a song, not a signal, a promise. You were not alone. You were not the first. You will not be the last. Remember, and be remembered. She placed her hand on the fracture device. It hummed, not with power, with peace. And for the first time since Earth fell, she knew. They had not just survived, they had become, not warriors, not saviors, but keepers, of the last standard, of the first feeling, of the echo that refuses to fade. The Vireo turned, not toward war, not toward peace, but toward the next silence, the next name, the next "I remember," because the work was never done. It was only just beginning.